Welcome and good evening to my program, The Insight. In this program, we try to discuss national and international issues, not only to get the in-depth knowledge of them, but also to understand what's happening around the world. In today's program, we are going to address and discuss two very important issues. One is pertaining to obviously UK, and we all have heard the recent unfortunate incident of train stabbing. This train was going from Doncaster to London King Cross station, and there were massive stabbing happened on the day. So there were almost 11 people were taken to hospital, and a gentleman called named Anthony Williams have been named, who's a suspect, and obviously he's arrested as well. He will be appearing in front of court on the 1st of December. So this is something we will be discussing today, because very unfortunate incident. This is not the first incident of its kind. Actually, in past few weeks we have heard about few of them. One of them, which was a major incident that happened a few weeks ago in Manchester, in front of a synagogue. The second issue which I'm going to discuss is obviously in relation to Pakistan political system, and also there are discussions happening at the moment with regards to 27th Amendment. Pakistan People's Party has actually proposed it, and they are discussing it with other political parties, namely, PMLN has been reportedly, as per Bilawal Bhutto's tweet, that PMLN is the one who is actually trying to make sure that this bill has been passed, and they are asking for People's Party to endorse 27th Amendment so it can be passed from the Parliament. This is something we need to understand. We have to discuss what actually 27th Amendment is and why the present government actually wants to pass this from the Parliament. What would be the advantages, what would be the disadvantages? And to discuss this, one of the guests in my program is definitely have authority on this issue, because his background is legal. He's solicitor advocate. He's also vice chairperson of OPC Punjab, which is Overseas Pakistan Council. Amjad Malik. Good evening, Mr. Malik.
Good evening, Sabina Khan. First of all, thank you for inviting me, and I congratulate Dr. Malik for inaugurating this DM News. And it is always pleasure to come and participate in your programs on current affairs and issues which are core to the hearts of millions of people. Thank you.
So much, and it's always a pleasure to invite you and in the program as a guest. I think we should start with this train stabbing, which is an unfortunate incident. Unfortunately, we are living in a country where most of the time we say that we are secure. The police here, or the security system, and especially the lawmaking organizations are very active, and they try and protect people's lives and their securities. But unfortunately, these kind of issues are repeated almost every other week in UK. What do you think? Why is it on increase? Why these incidents are happening so rapidly and almost every other day?
First of all, I think it's a condemnable act, and we all condemn it. It is not an incident which can easily be tolerated in a free society. And I believe that the government and institutes have not only condemned it but applauded the services rendered by emergency services and security agencies and law enforcement, and the quick response teams. So I think, without saying that, these kind of incident cannot be tolerated easily. Secondly, the reasons can be manifold. We have so much going on in a society. The polarization, immigration, terrorism, and so on and so forth. And the mental illness health is going down as well. So NHS is far stretched. So you can't pick the mental illnesses very quickly. And so we are in a society where anything and everything is happening, and sometimes you want to, but you don't have a tab on things. And if you ask me, I would not class it less than terrorism. But as Prime Minister has said, that it is not a terrorist act, but we go along with the government statement. But These are unfortunate incidents which should be condemned, and
Condemned.
we should go back to the root causes of such issues. You know, individuals British born migrated from the families may have migrated from other continent, and they are doing these kind of, knifing is becoming very common nowadays. If you go to the areas where these kind of gang wars happen, it is very frequent nowadays, and I think there should be more to be done to have a control on knife crime. And as you mentioned, that recently there was a synagogue attack, and people were anxious and condemning it in Greater Manchester area. So I think more should be done to detect and prevent beforehand, rather than punishing and sentencing people once the crime is committed.
You
Britain
actually made a
used to be
very
a very safe country.
Yeah, I'm sure you're right. You have made a very important point, actually. You said this incident should have been declared as a terror attack, but it wasn't. As the Prime Minister said, we are not treating this as a terror incident or a terror
Bina,
attack.
I have my reasons, because you class anybody who ram a car into a stampede, or you take a car and hit in the crowd, you declare it as a terrorist act. But somebody who is knifing 12 people, whoever he is, I am not linking it with any religion, caste, or creed. I am saying that those specialist units should be deployed, and it should be declared terrorist act, because
The question I
you
was going
can't
to,
link it only,
sorry, the question
you
I was
can't
going
link
to
it only
ask.
with any religion, or if they happen to be Muslims, it would have been declared terrorist act straight away.
Exactly. So the question I was going to ask the same, that how the government, or what is the level of measuring these attacks, that oh no, this is a terror attack, this is not. This attack has happened and it has
I
increased the threat level.
I
Now this is fine. 11
I
people
think
have been stabbed,
any
but there is no threat level.
I think any premeditated attack whereby you intend to cause harm, not only one individual, but a lot of a group of people, randomly, without thinking the consequences, and your aim is to create fear, hatred, and wider destruction, should be classed as terrorist act. And what do you think? The Manchester attack was considered as terrorist attack. Similarly, these kind of acts should be taken care of and classed as terrorist act, because they cause fear, they cause divide, hatred. They demonstrate the hatred of one against the other, and also wider destruction. 12 people were injured, two were seriously injured, uh, and critical, and there was a lot of mayhem, disruption, blood, fear. And I think these kind of incidents should not be taken lightly. You can't rub it under the carpet by saying, oh, this was just a knife crime, oh, they were British nationals. Whoever it is, it should not be linked with any religion, caste, creed, or color, or British, or Muslim, or Christian. It should be classed as looking at the devastation it caused, and fear it caused. And I think, to me, I have been practicing in UK over now 30 years, and I think, from my practice, these incidents should have been classed as terrorist act.
That the politician in this country, for example, if we look at the fiery speeches from reform leaders, and also the actions of Tommy Robinson and English Defence League, especially if we can just go back a couple of months ago, and EDL have done a big protest in the history of UK in London. I think they managed to gather around 150,000 people. Do you think this terror attack, where Anthony William, which is I'm not sure, but I think he might be a white British, he's from Peterborough, is linked to that kind of hatred going into people's mind, and then they are acting on it? Do you think it can be related to this politics in this country which is going on at the moment?
Sabina, I think overall, if you look at the bigger picture, I think politicians have made immigration and migration and people coming from Europe a gimmick. Though you politicize it so much that the truth has fogged in between. You struggle to find truth. What is right, whether we benefited from migration, whether we benefited from doctors from subcontinent, whether we enjoyed the services of Zimbabwean and South African nurses, or whether these people have come and they have drained our resources in NHS and education. I think we have clouded the truth by debating so much and politicizing in media the immigration issue that you hardly know the truth. And Brexit and this whole Islamophobia and Muslims and the terrorism. I think they need to draw the line. They need to go back few steps. They need to reconsider that we are losing community cohesion, we are losing tolerance, and we are losing the peace in our society. Britain used to be a center of civilization, cosmopolitan society where people could live um, in their own homes, free of any fear, whether what religion they belong, what culture they belong, or the caste and creed and the area, or from where they have originated. Now it is becoming increasingly worrisome, especially for immigrant communities, that what is our future in Great Britain, and the way they politicize the whole issue. EDL and reforms and other parties are going to gain strength, and the parties like Green Party and other parties will be marginalized. It will be very difficult to, the law-knowing people or the people who are peace-loving, they come in politics and play their role as people used to join Lib Dem, Labour, and Conservatives. The mainstream parties are losing ground rapidly, and the other parties which should be in between, the buffer zone, like used to be Lib Dem, the Green Party, another party, it is very difficult for them to grab that ground, and the ground is going to go to Reform and other parties who have a hardliner approach. And next coming 2 or 3 elections are going to be very tight in Great Britain because the debate is going to be ever increasing, and they could not put a tab to it. Their own inefficiencies, their own home office policies, they could not address the shortage. They could not address the illegal migration, people crossing the channel from France. They could not tackle their boats, but the blame was on immigration and the immigrant or migrant communities. And I think that has blown the whole argument out of proportion, which directly benefited from hardliner like Reform and PDL.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you here. Let's discuss another issue, which is obviously in relation to recent Pakistani politics, and obviously it has been discussed within the political parties in Pakistan with regards to 27th Amendment. According to media, this is something which is proposed by PMLN. They have presented to People's Party, and actually Bilawal Bhutto Zardari has announced it on his Twitter account, his X account, that they actually met them and they want the People's Party support in 27th Amendment. Can you please let our viewers know what is 27th Amendment?
Whenever there is some kind of collective unity of thought that there needs to be a constitutional amendment to change few things, then you bring a constitutional amendment to the both houses of parliament, and it should be passed by 2/3 majority. So majority of the parliament who represent the aspiration of the people of Pakistan, they pass that amendment, and it considered as the constitutional amendment to the 1973 constitution as amended. And I think that in 18th amendment, a lot of things went to provinces, whereby federation got weakened, and the areas which supposed to be handled by federation have gone to provinces, and they struggle because they budget to provinces on those areas, but these are classed as federation areas. And I think that is also one of the aspects in the coming 27th Amendment, that they want to retain balance, that the areas which should be with the remit of federation should remain with the federation, and it cannot be done unilaterally. PMLN cannot single-handedly pass this resolution or the constitutional amendment. It should be supported, accommodated by majority of the House, and I think they will need support of allied parties, People's Party, MQM, and I think the opposition ranks will also be wooed. They would be taken in confidence whether they oppose or they veto this constitutional amendment. But the numbers, two-third majority, will have to be obtained in order to pass this. But I have read the statement made by the Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar Sahab at the floor of the House, which indicated that we will take into confidence allied parties and all the presence in the House, as well as I read the tweet of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari and other stalwarts of the People's Party who want proper debate and that they should be taken in confidence. And I think I'm assured that there will be a proper debate in House of Parliament, in National Assembly and Senate, and it will be properly debated, and it will up to the parties that they raise the pertinent points. Raza Rabbani has raised a point in his tweet and in his statement from Senate as the ex chairman of the Senate, and I think these wiser voices must not be ignored. Constitutional amendment is a very crucial stage when you pass something which directly affect the millions of people in a country, and it should be well thought, well deliberated in all parties. It should be discussed, and thoroughbred exercise should be done, and I am assured that it will be done at the Senate and the National Assembly and the committees. Committees may have their rounds, parties may have their rounds in CEC and come up with any amendments or any changes or any editing of the draft. I haven't seen the draft yet, but it seems that it'll be touching the areas going back from 18th Amendment, which has gone to provinces, some coming back to federation to create balance. It is something to do with armed forces, 243. I think they may be looking at the role of field marshal, maybe inciting, because prior to that we haven't had in the Army Act the role of field marshal. So there may be something in that corner as well. And also,
I was coming to that.
and also the last point, and also I think in the Misake Jamhuriyat, they agreed to have a constitutional court. They did change the superior judiciary, whereby they erected 2 benches. But I think the whole idea was that we will have a separate constitutional court which will judicate issues which come up between the provinces. And I think there may be some clarity brought by the constitutional amendment, that what is constitutional court and what is the bench which deals with the mute point of law. And if you remember that in Great Britain, after High Court, we have 2 courts. One court is Court of Appeal. Court of Appeal deals with majority of the administrative appeals and matters. A county court straight away goes to Court of Appeal. All tribunal decision straight away goes to Court of Appeal. But also, if you are doing any bigger issues, a constitutional amendment and stuff, that goes to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court directly deal with it. So there is no harm having clarity that you have an administrative court, appeal court, but also have a constitutional court. If Sindh has a poem about Punjab and the Punjab has a poem about KPK, and something in the provincial bodies cannot be agreed, and you want to have an adjudication which is proper constitutional issue, that you can go to a constitutional court and get it adjudicated by the superior court representing all provinces, and consist of the top law lords, and that may be a saner choice. And that was agreed in the agreement formula which we signed with the People's Party, Benazir Bhutto and Nawaz Sharif. So I
Right.
think that there may be something on judiciary.
Okay, so I was coming to the point that which you have mentioned earlier on about the role of the field marshal, and that made it a bit controversial in Pakistani politics, and they're discussing it. Especially, I think PTI is not in the favor of 27th Amendment. I have been joined by two other guests in the studio, and with your permission, if I can just introduce them as well, and also take their point of view with regards to 27th Amendment. So I've been joined by Saeed Ashmi, who's a solicitor. Thank you very much for joining me. I know you were delayed in the traffic,
Yes.
but you made it. Thank you so much for that. And my other guest is Zia Khan. He's also a sister. Thank you very much for joining me in the program. So as you have heard that we were talking about this 27th Amendment, I'll start from you, Mr. Zia Khan. What do you think? This 27th Amendment is a need of the hour in Pakistan? Is that something is needed? Why it's controversial?
I think this is a need of the time to evolve constitutionally. Pakistan has to do these kind of reforms, and otherwise we have to continuously reform such kind of issues, to introduce these kind of reforms to settle potential issues, to address them for a long run. But I think there are some people in Pakistan, I would say, who would like to gain politically out of it. But I think I would say these kind of reforms
What would be
are,
the gains? Any idea?
like in perspective, if we're talking about PTI, maybe their agenda, their main concern is Imran Khan. They are trying their best to push every political party and put pressure on the government to release Imran Khan. This is their focal point at the moment. But I would say all parties either it's allies parties or the opponent parties should sit together. If this move have been brought forward by the government to do reforms, they should sit together, be part of the process, negotiate, and let's get it done amicably. I'm sure government has their clear stance that they want to bring every party on board, and they want to do this with consensus.
Right, okay. So, Mr. Saeed Hashmi,
Yes.
what is your take on that?
I think it's always good idea to think about the constitution of the country. If there are any needs, if there are any issues which need resolving. For example, after the 18th Amendment, where the devolution took place, certain departments went back to the provinces, and now after that, federal government was facing difficulty in shape of having spendings, giving that money in shape of NFC awards, and federal government was under pressure in a sense that they have to do lot, but at the same time they were not having that kind of revenue generation. Now their point that the education should come back, population should come back to the federal subject, and also to evolve other areas of governance. For example, with reference to having constitutional amendment in judicial aspects. For example, they are going to introduce now judicial Supreme Court, one full arm. At the moment we have a judicial bench, but they are going to make a judicial full Supreme Court where the judicial matters should be dealt, especially the matters relating to constitutional court. I think it's a good idea, but it's just there is a lot of illusion in the society. There is a lot of polarism in the society because of instability politically, that in order to not get the benefit of these evolutions and these new discussions, people are trying to disintegrate towards the different gains of different parties. But I think, as government has said, even like Barrister Amjad mentioned, the Deputy Prime Minister said that we will bring everybody on board. I think it's in the best interest of Pakistan to bring everybody on board, no matter which party somebody belongs to. Everybody's intake should be taken so that the whole nation should make a cohesive decision to the benefit of the people of Pakistan.
Right. So, Barrister Malik, as I mentioned before, that PTI is critical of 27th Amendment. At least they are having some, if we say, some reservations. Why? What kind of reservations they have, and what do you think if they are going to oppose this in the National Assembly? It will be very difficult for both of the parties to pass it.
Sabina, there are 2-3 things I think in Britain we can discuss it openly. I think that PTI thinks that whilst Field Marshal General Asim Munir is in power, it is very difficult for them to make space, political space in Pakistani politics. So they are dead against him to start with. With these kind of constitutional amendment, they know that they require the votes, and that is where the bargain comes. So they would like their best to have a bargain whilst giving vote, because everybody wants that it should be done by consensus and all parties should be on board, because it's a constitutional amendment. It is relevant to the fate of the whole nation. So nobody wants that it should be passed with any kind of negativity or too much opposition, because it relates to the overall state. So one, they would like to have a bargain. Two, they would like to oppose that. Even if they are unsuccessful, they can tell that we oppose this because we are against the current regime or the field marshal. And thirdly, I think that they know that if the government is able to pass this constitutional amendment, that reinforce that the government has the enough ammunition and power through vote that they can pass constitutional amendment without them, and that weakens their political stance that we are relevant, we are needed, and we should be consulted. They should be consulted, and there will be parliamentary committee forums where they will be consulted, and at the Senate, at the National Assembly, they will be able to voice their concerns and give vote for yes or no. But overall, if you look at it, I think 3 points. Are we in the state of war with India at the moment? Are we or are we not? If we are saying yes, we are still in that perils that we are fearful that India may retaliate, then you'll have to answer the second question is that what is our current position vis-a-vis Afghanistan? Are we threatened by wave of terrorism coming from our backyard through Afghanistan? If the answer is yes, then I think then you'll have to ask who would you like to rule and command your military, whether a winner of the previous war with India, or you want to try something new. And if by the look of it, that the way Donald Trump has praised your military leadership and your current prime minister, would you rather have the president of United States on your right side or against you? I think these are the things in the national interest of Pakistan. You'll have to weigh the pros and cons and then decide. And I think the state apparatus would be very mindful when they will be considering these points and considering the future next 5 years, 10 years, and they'll be making decision. And it has got nothing to do with the current government. It will be mainly to do with national interest and the state interest. We are situated in a geographically in a position in a very tight corner. On the one side China, and on the other side India, and on the other side the interest of United States. So we'll have to be very careful whilst we are dealing with the Indian fear of attack again, and the skirmishes, the terrorism wave of length coming to Pakistan. And that is why it will be important how we tread in next 243, which I think I envisage that there will be something on the line with the field marshal, and I think I am quite sure that PTI will oppose it.
Right. Now, you have mentioned 3 questions which are really, really important. I'm going to discuss this with my guests as well. But having said that, even if all the answers are yeses, all 3 yeses for all those 3 questions you have just raised, I'm still unable to understand what kind of role Field Marshal will have if 27th Amendment got approved by the National Assembly of Pakistan. What kind of role will he have?
Well, I think that if you bring in a role, because previously Chief of Army Staff used to command and had the priority as the head of armed forces, but not there was a chairman joint chief staff committee as well. But at that time, we did not envisage that we will have a field marshal who will win wars, and we may want to use his experience in tackling Indian issue, Afghanistan issue, and the issue of United States and the regional hegemony. And I don't know if the state wants to retain his services. They may bring in a role of for field marshal, and that role may extend his tenure. That role may give him power to appointments of the all chiefs of naval, chief of air, and there may be a field marshal, and then there may be another. There may be a chief of army staff as well. So field marshal will be a superior role, or I don't know. They may bring in something whereby they retain the services of the field marshal whilst these threat looms around. And I think that it will be wise if you utilize the services of a winner and utilize his experience, his bravery, and he had a lot to contribute in that war against India on 10th of May. And had there been somebody else, they may be thinking about the money, they may be thinking about resources, they may be thinking about equation that we are maybe less fortunate than India and may not plunge in this war and put up and shut up with the avalanche and on onslaught on us through missiles. But Field Marshal Asim Munir showed his muscle and mettle and brought us victory. And I think that nation must be proud that you have a son of a soil who can be utilized for the sake of Pakistan. I am dead against extensions overall, always opposed it, but we are going through extenuating extreme circumstances, and extreme circumstances desire extreme decisions. And I think state must operate and decide something which is in the best interest of Pakistan.
Of Pakistan, yes.
If this trio you want to have it to tackle Indian issue, to tackle Afghanistan issue, you are losing a lot of soldiers at your border. A lot of officers have died in last few months in Pakistani border and back through KPK and Afghanistan area. It is not a publicity stunt. A lot of soldiers are going home in coffins, and you must be mindful that if things escalate and goes out of hand, you may have a similar situation which was in the reign of previous Nawaz Sharif government, when there was a 16 December attack in APPS Peshawar, and there was a dead bodies all around coming and going, and we had to bring in national action plan. So we don't want to go in the past and in the same area where you are not safe, your cities are not safe, and you cannot control this wave of terrorism. So you need to have a collective wisdom and unity of thought between military and civil government, and bring in something which affect and benefit overall the state of Pakistan rather than any person or individual.
Yes. So you have heard, Barrister Amjad Malik mentioned about those three questions, and I mean, I don't know if what's your view in light of those questions. Do you think still in 27th Amendment the role of Field Marshal will be appreciated by all the parties?
I think considering his role as a field marshal, or having performed well in this war against India, obviously Pakistan needs some sort of consistency, but it should not be at the cost of any sort of imbalance between the government and the power of the armed forces. It should be within the lines of Constitution of Pakistan. It should not be beyond any limit where there should be imbalance, which is everybody talks about is this imbalance, that the full power belongs to the armed forces, not with the government. And this is open truth that everybody thinks about. This is one of the reasons that Pakistani nation thinks that the whole imbalance of power is there in the corridors of power in Pakistan. So if you are going to introduce any amendment which will give him a more power, for example, which will undermine the democratic government or democracy in Pakistan, I would really personally oppose that.
Right. Okay. What's your view?
I would say always the extensions for such kind of roles are being condemned by all parties. But I would say since we are in
War on two fronts, yeah.
state of war at the moment, and the role Field Marshal has played recently in Indian episode, I would say there is no harm if such kind of amendments related to these kind of roles. I would say if more powers will be granted to Field Marshal role or the Chief of Army Staff role, I think we need to balance the power between the institutions that they work. We need to strengthen them rather we making their conflicts and conspiracies and conspiracy theories raised from these kind of amendments. I would say overall there is no harm to do.
But you want to see the balance.
We need a balance. Yes.
I think Mr. Hashmi has made a very valid point that if the armed forces, the role of armed forces is quite, is raised, then the government of Pakistan or the political power which is at the moment, then it will be, I think, will not be acceptable to majority of the, not only in the political scenario, but I think to the public. But the problem is that the way we are discussing this issue here, it has not been explained or understood by Pakistani public, because there is no one to give them the true picture. We just hear conspiracy theories on different podcasts, on different political on different channels which are actually siding with one particular party. Or nowadays you can see so many YouTube channels where people are sitting there and preaching public and asking them to see the world with their own, the spec they are using actually. So that's why I think we need to have these discussions which can give us clarity. And also we can have an honest debate. So I'm going to take a short commercial break. And Mr. Malik Sahab, I know you initially asked you for half an hour, but I would request you if you can just stay for 15 minutes more. So I just want to discuss another issue with you, and then you can take leave. I'm going to take a short commercial back, and we'll be right back after this break. Welcome back after the break. We have discussed about 27th amendments in quite length, but there's another topic which is under discussion not only in Pakistani media but in Indian media mostly, and also in international media as well, and that is the defense agreement between India and United States of America. People were expecting different in terms of India, because the way Donald Trump is praising Pakistan Army and as well as Pakistani leadership wherever he is going, and he is a big fan of Field Marshal, as Amjad Malik has previously said, and I endorse this statement because we have seen him praising him all the time. But this 10-year defense agreement between India and Pakistan has raised some serious between India and USA has raised some serious concerns within Pakistani institutions. So, Mr. Amjad Malik Sahab, this is my last question, and obviously then I know you have to leave, and thank you very much for the time you have given us. What do you think about it, that Trump was praising Pakistan, Pakistani institutions, Pakistan Army, our Field Marshal, our Prime Minister, but actually behind the scene there was a lobbying going on, and they made a defense agreement with India?
First of all, we'll have to realize that there is no free lunch in the whole world. You'll have to protect and look after your own interest. Never ever think that America will come and look after your interest. You'll have to watch your interest yourself. The United States has been in agreement in the past. It is a renewal of that agreement. It is not a new agreement. New agreement is that you are affecting with Saudi Arabia. That is a big defense pact, which is a new game changer in the Gulf region. Now, what we have to remember, that even after signing the agreement or renewal of it, Donald Trump has not stopped praising Field Marshal and Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif. That is your success. America is producing high level and in quantity the weapons in the world. They'll have to sell it. So they will go for bigger markets, and India is has been there, one of the markets where they used to sell arms and share intelligence and stuff. And of course, they're not going to sell it to China. So they'll have to cater their own national interest and needs. What we need to understand is that by having hello hi with America ourselves, that doesn't mean that America will stop saying hello hi to India or any other country. This is a community of nations where you protect your interest, try to persuade the bigger powers to agree to your point of view, support you in a common community of nations at United Nations. You played a part and role in Gaza settlement. You play a part and role in when Qatar was attacked and in Defense Pact. And I think you have a role in Asia, and you must focus on that role. And I think your role is not diminished by Pakistan, by United States having a renewal of their defense agreement with India. Whether you are a bigger market of that magnitude as compared with India, can you have that kind of a contract with Pakistan? Can United States have that similar contract with Pakistan? Have you got the infrastructure, money, buying power? At the moment, I think I'm less hopeful. But looking at the speech of then Chief of Army Staff in April, you were there. The things he have projected in future, you may be able to compete with those kind of agreements, and you can offer a competitive contract saying America should not sign this contract with any neighboring country. We are ready to outbid India. At this moment, I think we are not in that position whereby we can buy the same magnitude and quantity of arms from United States, and they'll have to sell their arms if they are making it, if they're manufacturing it. And I think we should focus on whether we have the counter weaponry if India attacks us. And I am assured the way Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif narrated in London that Pakistan is in safe hand, and if any out of proportion steps are taken by India, they will be met with the sheer force. And this time Field Marshal has given a go-ahead to their army and said, don't even come and ask. If India retaliates, respond first, then ask. And I think that is where we should be focusing, whether we are in defense-wise in a fair, better position to counter India's attack, and whether the way we responded last time, the Indian retaliation, whether we are in that position militarily. I am assured that we are, and we should not be really discouraged or intimidated by United States selling arms to India.
Right. Thank you very much for your participation, and thank you for the answer. Really appreciate your contribution. It was grateful, and it was fruitful, and thank you so much. And I'm hoping to see you in the studio soon.
Always
thank
a
you.
pleasure. Always a pleasure. Thank you.
So let's engage now, both of you, in this discussion. This is really important, and I think people of Pakistan, and especially those who were expecting a lot from Donald Trump in the favor of Pakistan, are not very happy. But like Amjad Malik said, that's only a renewal of this defense agreement. What is your take on it? Any of you, if you want to?
I think America, at the end of the day, they are taking care of their own interest in shape.
They have to, because they are
being a nationalist. Every country's leader have to. But with reference to Donald Trump particularly, while praising Field Marshal, while praising Pakistani politicians, he was rather edging towards India in a sense that there should be a proper coordination between India and US, which they already have. If it's a renewal of previous 10 years agreement, even then they are preserving their interest very carefully. I think Pakistan needs to look into the perspective of having stability within the country and consider their position which they are now, with reference to having fought with India recently and having issues with the Afghan border. And in this situation, I think if India is having such agreements with US, Pakistan also should try to counter it with having reciprocal agreements or parallel agreements with other countries in order to to make sure that they are not left behind with reference to technological advancements, especially in missile technologies and also in other armed forces technologies. And I think Donald Trump is a more of a businessman than even a politician. So he played well. He praised our field marshal on one side. On the other side, they were negotiating with India.
What do you think?
I think Donald Trump used very diplomatic wording since the Indian episode.
May 7th.
He kept praising Pakistan leadership, Shahbaz Sharif, Prime Minister, and the Field Marshal, General Munir, Asim Munir. I think he used this diplomacy to renew his contract with India, because these are very, very powerful wording. He repeatedly used these wordings, and we need to see in this perspective that Pakistan gained a lot through these diplomatic wordings, even if they were used diplomatically only. Pakistan is rocking at the moment in the international community. Pakistan's graph is going up.
Yeah, it's gone up, yes.
Yes.
They have been escalated.
End of day, as Saeed and Barrister Amjad Malik has explained, that nobody do for nothing. I would say he protected his country's interest very well. He is a businessman. He played well in that sense as well. But I would request every Pakistani to be focused on their own resources, their own ability. I would simply say that during this Indian episode, your armed forces has proved that, given these circumstances, since America was in contract with India, Pakistan performed very well. They win the war. They win every diplomatically.
They were quite successful in their diplomatic efforts as well. So basically, that war was not only our Pakistan army; it was actually Pakistani public. They won the war because they were quite actively involved. And if you talk about the government, because even Field Marshal said in one of his speeches that it is very difficult to be the Prime Minister at wartime. That was not an easy task, and I think we should give them credit as well, that diplomatically they actually handled the situation very well. But like you said, and Mr. Hashmi said that Trump has actually tried to play with us, and he raised our Field Marshal and our Prime Minister, but actually signed or renewed the agreement with India. But I think we have seen Donald Trump not only praising them, he actually put them in the right place at the right time as well. Like like the way he invited Field Marshal for a lunch, then the way in the different important meetings he always mentioned Field Marshal. He never failed to mention his name. So that means he means something as well. It's not like that he just wanted to do that so India can renew the agreement.
I think through these actions, Pakistan gained a better position within the region, and India truly commended the performance of Pakistan during the war. He repeatedly said 7 fighters were shot dead. I think within the situation and the circumstances that Pakistan had been for a long time, and India being the growing economy and having latest technology and the latest fighter jets, India couldn't fight with us. We beat him badly. I think these are major points where it helped our other indicators to go up and to go green as well. I think Donald Trump's repeated praising the leadership in Pakistan helped Pakistan to
go to the next level.
To go
Yep.
to the next level, yes.
But I think Mr. Hashmi is not very happy on this case. I think he has his own reservations, which obviously I appreciate that. But let's go to another topic, which actually we were discussing with Amjad Malik, and you were not in the studio by then. That's the recent train stabbing. Obviously, you both are from legal background, and you must have heard the discussion, but I think you were not able to participate with regards to this specific topic. So this recent stabbing was actually happened on a train when train was traveling from Doncaster to London King Cross station. 11 people were taken to hospital. There's a massive stabbing, and the name and the person called Anthony Williams have been obviously the police has told that's the name of the person, and he's from Petersburg. This has not been treated as a terror attack because obviously it's been not done by any other religion, probably, if I may say so.
I think this has a quite serious concern. Any sort of act which is a kind of terrorist act done by any person, no matter which creed or which nationality he belongs to, should be treated in the same way. In a sense, I don't know why police is not treating it like that. I think, as Barrister Amjad Malik said, this also covers the same criteria of any incident to be treated as a terrorist event, a terrorist act. This fits in within that as well. I think this should not be treated as a normal incident. Whosoever is responsible should be bring to the court of justice, and this event should also be treated in the same way as the other incidents are treated and considered within the community. And if we don't do that, this doesn't give a good vibe towards the community, that two different incidents can have a different meanings. Any incident which hurts people, which kills people, which spreads hatred, which spread fear within the community, should be treated in the same way as the other incidents are treated.
Yes, of course, such kind of horrified incidents within the country or anywhere in the world should be treated as terrorist actions, terrorist activities, because it spread threat to the public,
insecurity, fear, instability,
fear. Yes, exactly. And I think Prime Minister should review their position in relation to by not announcing such activity as not an act of terrorism. I think they should treat every act without any discrimination, without any race, religion. If any person harms somebody across, does not mean that if a Muslim would do such kind of acts is a terrorist and terrorist activity, but others not. I would say the police and the government has to review their position in this, and they should announce this as an act of terrorist.
Yes, and I think this person will be attending his first hearing is on 1st of December. We need to know the motive, why he has done it, what was the reason. Was he trying to actually, his victims were some specific people, or he just want to do that to harm the public at large? What was his mental condition? Because normally with these people, when these kind of incidents happen, what we hear in the news that he was having some mental health issues. Yeah. So these are the actually details which we would be hearing soon, but I think it will take some time. It's not that we will hear back from the police or from the court. It will take a longer time, this trial. Let's talk about the recent Afghanistan and Pakistan ceasefire situation. As you might be aware that there was a massive breakout, I will not say war, but attack from Pakistani side to Afghanistan, and then Afghanistan requested for a ceasefire. Then there were some dialogues happened in Doha. Ceasefire was extended. Then recently they had a meeting in Istanbul, and unfortunately nothing major has happened, but still there is a ceasefire, and I think they're going to meet again on 6th of November. What do you think? What we will get out of it? Is there, because these Taliban, Afghan Talibans, they're not actually sticking to one point. They agree on one point, they go back, and then they say no, we don't agree.
I think they are using their position very well, in a sense that at the same time they say, for example, Pakistan has attacked their sovereignty with the allegation that the Taliban are attacking back in Pakistani borders. But at the same time, again, I mean, there is no debate within our parliament about these big decisions that you are going to engage with the Durand line, which is such a long line, along with the border of Pakistan, having at the same time a war issues with India. And I think if there are any, obviously they should use their best way to deal with it. But the best way possible, I think, in this situation is to engage with them, talk to them, rather than start fighting in a way that you start, big bombardment on the cities, the main cities of Afghanistan. I think considering Pakistan's situation is very volatile in this situation, where India is fully supporting those Taliban now, and now they are threatening against that if there is attack on Kabul, we will do reciprocally attack to the Islamabad.
But then they refuse. They said we didn't say that. We didn't say this in this context. The problem is they're not sticking to
exactly
one statement.
They are using their position. They are also in such a position where they can take benefit of the situation, where Pakistan is facing infiltration from their side, but at the same time they are now engaging with India and taking money from them and taking even weapons from India.
Yeah.
And this is really concerning situation for Pakistan.
Exactly, and that is not, do you think it's on the Taliban part, this is a bit of, I would say, that condemned what they believe in. For example, they don't want to be the way they are, that they're too religious, and they don't want to be engaging with non-Muslims, or they will not, the way they are governing in Afghanistan, the way they are actually not giving rights to their females, whether they are reporters or in any profession actually, and it contradicts their actual belief. And now they are actually taking money or assistance from India.
Yeah, as Saeed said, that maybe India is supporting them on the back end. I would say Afghanistan should not let their country use against Pakistan and to challenge the Pakistani sovereignty. I think Pakistan had raised these concerns on many occasions with the foreign minister and Afghanistan government, which resulted that they did not pay any attention, and consistently their side of the soul has been used for Pakistan, and armed forces have been sacrificing their lives, which is very concerning to Pakistan and Pakistani officials. I think it's all about it's all about the Indian plan that they have been investing in Afghanistan. They've been using their soil to conduct terrorist activities. Recently, you can see Pakistani people are being used to do these terrorist activities within Pakistan. I would condemn these kind of actions either on the part of Afghanistan or India. No doubt we are in conflict with India, but there is always a way to there is always a way to sit down together and negotiate any issues
that's what they're doing.
Countries.
Yes, but the problem is that they are negotiating, but unfortunately not reaching to a point where they can have a mutual agreement. And now what actually our foreign minister has told the Pakistani public that 3 times we were at the verge of reaching the agreement, and they agreed, and then they
Actually,
go to-
Pakistani officials demanded, it's a demand of maybe situation and the agreement that it must be in writing. What Foreign Minister has explained to the media, that they are agreeing orally but not in writing.
yeah.
They don't want to say something in writing. My concern is, even if it is in writing, either Afghanistan would respect such kind of
Agreement, even if they
or
sign the
not,
document, yeah.
since India is influencing them a lot.
Yeah.
And I think it is very serious situation given the northern areas and Balochistan situation. I think it should be treated very strictly.
Yeah.
I would support our army and the law enforcement agencies and any strikes they have done,
Yeah.
to destroy the camps and the Indian raw hubs settled in Afghanistan. Yes, we should do this. We should carry on with this act. We need to defend ourselves. We want to live with respect, and we want to give respect to the neighbors. But it does not mean that they should continue with terrorist activities
Yeah.
within Pakistan. Especially in relation to Afghanistan, we have been helping the Afghani refugees for a long time and decades. But I think the result is in front of the whole entire world, that we are being we are facing terrorist activities through Afghanistan.
Right. So, Mr. Hashmi, when it is difficult, like Zia Khan said, that even if they sign on the dotted lines and they sign the agreement, what is the guarantee that they're not going to break it? Which is a very valid point. But having said that, why? We are going to start another round of dialogues from 6th of November. Do you think there is any hope that they might agree to something?
I think Taliban and the Afghan government are utilizing their position at this time best way possible. I mean, if they are using their position by bringing terrorist activities within the borders of Pakistan, which Pakistan rightly defending it robustly, and which they should do, and they are doing it. But with reference to having talks, obviously we have defeated India in recent war, and India is trying their best to damage and engage Pakistan in this Durand line as much as they can. India could only be the reason that the Taliban or this government of Afghanistan is not coming on table, or not in doing any written agreement with Pakistan.
Sorry, so you're saying that they're not taking instructions from Kabul, but I think they're coming from Delhi.
Yes.
Right, okay.
Yes.
If that is the situation, then why some political figures or party in Pakistan is asking to have dialogue? Even if they don't agree, please still dialogue is the option. So why would we engage with them and have a dialogue with them?
I think at the end of the day, both are Muslim countries, and they should always keep their doors open. They should always keep their dialogue channels open to have conversations. But at the same time, Pakistan military should do whatever is necessary to do for Pakistan.
Because what Pakistan military say, or what Pakistani authorities are saying, that whenever there is a ceasefire, it will give them a time and opportunity to regroup. They take advantage of the time that, oh, there's a ceasefire, let's regroup and plan another attack on Pakistani soil.
But we need to look, either we are capable of having engagement with Afghanistan continuously for coming days,
Are we
months,
capable to getting this infiltration from the other side?
No, we should do our best to tackle it in
So,
shape of having conversation, in shape of creating some sort of buffer zone between the both borders, that nobody should operate within that certain kilometers of the border. Nobody should be allowed to come near to our border. And if there is such kind of agreement takes place, then there is a chance
Don't you
that
think
this
there's a very
infiltration
thin
can
line
close.
between all this? I mean, it is not. It's very delicate situation. I mean, go to war with them or don't go for a war with them. I mean, it's very delicate situation.
It is a difficult situation,
It
no
is
doubt.
difficult, and it is very difficult to deal with. But I would say principally we should do whatever actions we have to do to save our borders, and but at the same time we should continue dialogue with Afghanistan, and we must bring the international community like Turkey, Qatar, and other Muslim countries into this, so they can ensure the agreement gonna be working peacefully. And we should look, end of the day, we cannot afford continuous retaliation and conflict with Afghanistan, given we have other neighboring country which is India, and we have long-term engagement with India since the birth of the Pakistan.
I would like to add one thing. I think considering the sensitivity of Pakistan situation with India and with Afghanistan, our politicians, our army officials should think about the internal stability of the country, which is the biggest lack at this time. Unless this stability does not come within us, I think we will not be able to fight these wars effectively in near future.
Right? How?
They should bring the stability in a way, in a shape that they should at least address the concerns of people, governance issues, and all these issues which our Pakistani people are talking about
Exactly,
nowadays.
but what if the other countries are invading war on you? You have to step up and do something
Obviously,
as well.
then obviously
Governance is the internal problem, but we are talking about infiltration from across the borders.
we have all rights to defend our borders, and we are with our armed forces
Yeah.
while they are defending our borders.
Right.
We are absolutely behind them, and our whole nation proved in recent war with India that Pakistan, all political party was standing behind the armed forces, and they won the war.
Yeah, that was very brave. That was very brave of Pakistani
Yeah.
public. I agree with that.
And
but
they appreciated that.
exactly, they do, and it also actually changed the perspective, the perspective of Pakistan Army, which was actually was tarnished, I would say, by some, and they actually got their position back, which is good,
Yeah,
because we have
they-
to.
they have,
Otherwise, we will not be able to.
Obviously,
So I think-
all stakeholders are loyal to Pakistan, and it has proved in the recent war with India that no matter what the political differences are, everybody was on same page, and they were supporting armed forces, and that's what we wish, that it should be environment where all the people, all the political parties should support army at the same time.
Right now, Field Marshal has said on many occasions about the term hard state, and I think we can see that something is happening in Pakistan which is making Pakistan a hard state, like banning TLP. Do you think that is a good move, and that also actually make few other elements worried that it can be them as well if they do anything like what TLP was doing before?
Yeah, I think it's very sensitive and religious issue. TLB, and since the last, the incident with TLB, many innocent people were killed. Either side have showed their aggression. I think if such kind of organization, and especially religious organization, would do such kind of activities, like if their agenda is being supported by foreign countries or foreign elements, I think these kind of activities should be treated intensely. But I will not support at all that people should be killed. It doesn't matter either they are from the government side or from the TLB.
There should be no use of force, you mean?
There should not be use of force. There should always be way forward with talks, dialogues. I think I did not go through in detail with the recent incident, like why this actually happened, on who started it first, at first place. But anyway, there should be protests, and there should be followed the SOPs should be followed by any protester, and government should show their patience. But I will not support such kind of killings at all.
I think this hard state concept is absolutely misunderstood and misinterpreted at this time in Pakistan. Do we mean hard state that hard state can kill anybody? Does it mean that hard state will be a hard state where they can extrajudicial killings can take place within the biggest province of Pakistan, and we say that this is
Or
the
it
hard
can also
state?
mean no to any stupidity.
Obviously no, but there comes the public cannot fight with their own country.
Yeah,
Hard
you can't make a
state-
state within a state.
Hard state should not be interpreted in a way that the law enforcement agencies are not accountable. Hard state is a state where there is a justice system prevailing, where there is a strong institutions, where there is a stable political system, where the ordinary person walking in a street can peacefully walk in the street at nights and say, this state is hard state for me because nobody is there to touch me. If we want to prove our country as a hard state in shape of bringing this lawlessness through the enforcement agencies, as it happening in Pakistan, I think this concept is going to destroy our community overall.
What do you say about this? For example, a random religious political party like TLP decided one fine morning, oh, we are going out in the street. What is your agenda? We don't
Absolutely.
know. What you want to do? We don't know. But we will go and
No.
we will make chaos. We will create chaos on the streets and roads of Pakistan.
Nobody should support that, and I personally don't support that.
Good.
There should be a proper SOPs decided. Nobody should be allowed to create blockades within the main highways. This is not even allowed anywhere in our law as well. At the same time, but problem is people did this previously, but they get away with it. They did this in Faizabad Chowk last time, but they get away with it.
Yeah.
Why? Everybody knows why they get away with it. Had they been dealt at that time properly,
Yeah.
they would have been addressed at that time.
Yeah, I agree with you here. That's a very valid point. Do you agree?
Yes, I do agree with this, and I think
This is something I think we are not courageous enough to say that.
Yeah.
This is the
People are saying
reality.
this. People are saying this, yeah.
I think the protesters, again, it's very unfortunate with Pakistan that any time any party would come to the streets and the roads and block it and start killing people and with force,
Destroying
basically.
public property.
Yes, destroying
And nobody is
public
accountable,
properties.
nobody can assess.
I think these kind of actions should be treated very, very strictly
Yeah.
by the enforcement agencies, and there should be SOPs of any protests,
Yeah.
and they should be strictly followed, should be allowed to do the process subject to following these SOPs.
SOPs. And I think the dynamics and dimensions are changing in Pakistan. And like you said, and very valid point, that I wish they would have been taken or I mean dealt with properly
Yeah,
before at
exactly.
that time. They would never
would
come
never
out.
have faced
But
this
I
today.
think if there is a change, and if I think now they are going to stop all these kind of activities, I think we still appreciate that
Yeah.
we wish and we hope that we are going to the
But
right
at the same
direction.
time, the people who have killed people, from either side, should be held accountable.
Exactly, but unfortunately, because of the social media, you don't know what
Nobody has access to
exactly
any
happened
information.
at that
because
time, yeah.
for example, if I claim, oh, there are 10, God forbid, people have killed from my party or my organization, I should be able to give the proofs as well.
Yes.
If there are no proof, but I am claiming that, obviously we don't know what the truth, what the reality is. I think government of Pakistan or Punjab government has actually asked TLP to, whatever you are claiming, can you please give us the proof as well? Where are the proofs? Which is very, I would say, I don't sound to be harsh here, but sometimes you do need these evidences to prove the government or the law enforcement authorities that whatever they are doing is extrajudicial killing. But anyway, thank you so much, both of you, Mr. Saeed Hashmi and Mr. Zia Khan. Thank you so much for your contribution, and I hope to see you soon in one of my other programs. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This was my program tonight, The Insight, and I will be seeing you again Thursday between 7 and 8. So stay tuned to DM News English Sky 522.